All right, we're getting ready to go live, so I just want to welcome you to week one. May now have another intern jumping on board here in a little bit, but I think we should first do introductions since I know some of you may know each other, but I know I want Isha and Valerie to meet each other because they're involved with the radio show that we're trying to build. So Kathy, why don't you just do a quick introduction again of who you are, what you do with Girls in Power, and what you do on the outside.
Okay. Well, like Melinda said, my name is Kathy. I am the HR assistant along with Carly. My job basically consists of conducting the interviews, posting jobs on the various websites that we utilize, just things like that. And then, like Valerie had asked me, if I was back in school, I'm going back to school, taking a few classes, and then hopefully applying to medical school or things like that.
Great. Well, welcome. Isha, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hi, this is Isha, and my job is basically to outline the show and look forward to a lot of things which are, associated with radios or podcast. And to research basically. So, and I'm glad that I joined you guys because I'm learning every day.
All right, Carly.
My name's Carly, and I'm also with Kathy, part of the HR team. We both do interviews, onboarding paperwork, all that good stuff. I also go to school full-time and I work part-time too, so pretty busy.
Great. Well, welcome aboard. And Valerie?
Hi, I'm Valerie Tyson. Am I on? Okay. I'm here as the radio show manager. I'm looking for a new podcast. I have a lot of experience in radio and marketing as well as production, event production, and so on. So I will be here to hopefully work with Melinda and
Isha?
create this show and see where it goes.
Awesome. Yay. Well, welcome to the internship, and we also sometimes refer to this as our mentorship training just because some women either are mentors in the company or they cross over in their positions within the company. We have an event coming up where I taught last year Friends and Frenemies at the Surefire Girls Conference. It's October 11th. So we are looking for ladies to help when we do breakout sessions and teach that segment, as well as a couple of ladies to man the booth at the Surefire Conference. So if you all have any background noise, you might want to mute yourselves until it's time to talk. That way, I don't know where that's coming from. Awesome, thank you. All right, so in week one, we're actually going to cover 2 weeks worth of segments. I'm hoping you all had your workbook and you've been able to review the workbook that I sent yesterday. Wonderful, and if you've printed it out, that's even better. If not, please be sure to have some paper and pens or note cards because we're going to do a couple of exercises together, and you're going to be able to draft your envision your life and do the wheel of life. So we'll talk about the priorities in your life. So I'll be sharing my screen from time to time. I'll show you what that looks like when we're on a specific segment, so you can see this is week one. The first section of week one is we're going to review creating margins. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, great. So I don't know if you've ever noticed this or someone shared this with you before, but it's very easy. I'm going to first talk about creating margins because the idea is that much like a margin on a college-ruled or wide-ruled sheet of paper, there's a margin there for a reason, and it's a metaphor for us in life. If we have too many things going on, we get out of balance, right? And it's crucial for us to be taking time to be still, which we'll talk about a little bit more in depth. And that margin is that space I like you to start being aware of and asking yourselves on a daily basis, have I created enough margin in my day for myself. A lot of times people think I just got to do, or I got to check things off my list, right? But in reality, if we're not taking time and aware of that margin, our cup will spill over and we will begin to not only lose sight of what's important, perhaps our communications might fail with our loved ones. Sometimes we'll get very stressed and edgy and have a tone or an attitude with people. I mean, I suffer from this myself, so a lot of the times I notice I have to take a step back, right? And I have to make sure that I'm taking time for me and taking time for myself, because I can be a better person, serve people better in society as well as my family, do all the things that I want to do, and actually multiply my time more effectively and efficiently if I am taking time to myself and being still. And so that's really what that concept is built around, is that if you're not already taking time to be still, meaning turn off the phone, don't look at the computer, not the TV, obviously. You can go outside and lay down in your patio. If that area is comfortable for you, you can lay down in bed. You could just sit and in a quiet place that's comfortable for you. Sometimes I use this time to be still and quiet, to just allow thoughts to come into my head or leave, much like a meditation, or I use this time to talk to God. Sometimes I use this time to just breathe and concentrate on my breath so that I bring myself back to a rational state and a calm state. Does that all make sense to you? It's a pretty simple, a simple tool that if you can adopt, the goal would be to adopt this and increase the amount of time that you're spending and giving yourself time to rest so that you will be much more efficient in... Did you guys lose my picture?
No.
I
okay.
did. Oh, now I did. Oh, there.
Okay. So I want you to start with just 5 minutes, commit to that, and see how that feels. It may be uncomfortable at first if you're not used to any form of being quiet or meditation, or just taking time not to do anything and turning everything off. It can be uncomfortable, but the best thing you can do for yourself is just to follow your breath and breathe in and out slowly. And you can count that if you want to help you get into a relaxed state. And then report back to me in the group next week. We'd like to hear how that's going for you. Okay. Hey, Christine, you've joined us. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Christine. I am a university student in the Philippines. I've recently joined GIP last week, I think.
Great. And Christine's been awesome. She's helped me get a promo video. She's got a lot of skills. Can you all still hear me even though you can't see me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I think we might have internet interference from time to time. So, okay, so the next thing in creating margins is I want you to get out your circle of support workbook page, and I'm going to just talk it out. You don't need to read it, but if you want to use it as a reference, you can. I have found that in my time of recovery and in time of need, also that it's been very crucial when I have in the past identified my circle of support, and then as I go on with my life, I'm aware of what those circles look like and who those people are and how I define them, meaning who am I going to go to in a time of need, or versus who am I going to go to when I want to just share what's been going on in my life. And so we're going to take the time, each of you, to draw a circle with you in the middle, me, your name, and then draw the arms of the circle, a line, out to other circles, and take a couple minutes here to identify the different people that are in your life that support you in different ways. So we're going to take it a step further. So you're not just going to write their name, but I want you to identify what that person's supportive capacity is for you. In other words, think about it for the next couple of minutes about how do you utilize that person? What does that person provide you? Meaning, do they sometimes just listen and that's what you need? Are they logical and rational and they help you calm down and they help you think through a problem? Are they people that are just loved ones and friends who you call and you kind of, I don't want to say shoot the shit, but you basically know what I mean. You're just kind of blabbing and gabbing about what life is like. So it's important that you identify who those people are. All right, and then we'll share that with each other in just a minute. So take a minute to do that, please. Okay, are we all just about done, or do you need another minute or two?
A couple minutes. 1 minute.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. No need.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Kathy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. What I'd like each.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Can you repeat that again? There was a weird noise.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great.
I think it did it again.
Yeah, it's still doing it.
I didn't hear it.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
As soon as you talk, we can't hear you.
Yeah.
Start. As soon as you start, it goes mute.
No.
There's a clicking as if there's a connection or a wire's not plugged in, and you're still mute.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Can't hear you.
Hear me?
Nothing.
How about now?
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yes.
But the moment you start,
Okay. All right. So identify a person and who that person is and what you utilize them, meaning how are they supportive to you, Kathy?
Okay, just one person.
Yeah, go ahead and do one person.
Okay, well, I'll pick my best friend from high school. We've been best friends for like almost 10 years. She she listens to me when nobody else will. She she's basically just always there for me. She provides the love, support, the hugs I need if I ever need them. Um, she's just somebody I can always rely on if my mom and dad aren't necessarily there, or I feel like I can't go to my mom and dad or talk to them. She would be my next outlet.
Great. All right, great. And Christine, how about you?
Well, I have two people actually. So it's my mom and my cousin. So my mom has always been there for me ever since my dad abandoned both of us. So she's always there to support me, even though I know she's having a hard time. So she's always there. And the other one is my cousin. So he's a guy and he's already in college, fourth year in college, and he's always there to support me when I have problems, when I cannot talk to my mom at times about teenage problems. So I can talk to him anytime.
Great, good. I'm glad you have him and your mom. Genesis?
I did my sister. She's just there to talk or listen or anything I ever need. She's my younger sister, so we grew
All
up
right.
together.
Can you introduce yourself to the group? I think you may have came on after we did introductions.
Yeah, I'm Genesis. I am a junior in college here at Cal Lutheran. I'm from the Antelope Valley area, but I'm currently living in Thousand.
Great. Awesome. Glad you made it. Isha, how about you? Who do you have that you mainly go to for support and define that relationship for everybody?
For me, it has to be again two-person, like my mom and one of my very, very close friends. I think we've been friends again for more than 10 years, exactly. Like from high school, we were together. We've literally grown up together. So we can talk anything and everything. And that support when you just have to look to your friend and they give you a smile and they know it that yes, there's something actually going on with her. And, they just come and hug you. I think that's one of the most important things for me. And I think she has given me that. And my mom, unlike a lot of Asian parents, my mom is not that strict. She would actually, to my surprise, and to a lot of my friends are also surprised when they come to know that your mom is so chilled out. But she is pretty chilled out. I can talk to her whatever I want. There's no a guard thing for me that, I have to talk this and only this to my mom. So I can call her up and talk to her anything, and she's always there for me. So
You're very fortunate. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
How about you, Carly?
I chose my grandma and grandpa because they're kind of more my spiritual guide. Like if I'm in my faith having issues or questions, I can always talk to them. I live with them. So they're always there. Like when I get home, my grandpa always compliments me, makes me feel good. My grandma's always there for like adult help, like if I need help with bills or all that stuff. She always guides me through that stuff. So they're always there for everything.
Wonderful. How about you, Valerie?
Well, being the old lady in the group, I actually have quite a few spokes on my wheel. So I'll only give you one since that's what you asked for. I'll give you the first one I wrote down as people in a group of friends is my friend Tina, who is my logical and rational sounding board.
Good.
I go to her for advice on profound issues that affect my life, my emotional life. She's also a trained psychologist, although she doesn't have a practice. She runs programs for the LA County. So she's actually very practical. She's very opposite to me. But we are good, close friends. We've raised our daughters together. So anyway, that's one spoke of my wheel. So.
Wonderful. Okay, so the next exercise we're going to do is I'm hoping you have either a piece of paper or a little note card near you. We're going to do the labels that people put on us. All right, so there's two parts to this exercise. One is, we can first talk about what others, labels people have put on us. So, in my situation growing up, I had a sister one sister who was younger. My parents, and a lot of you know my story, that my parents weren't the most compassionate, empathetic, and sometimes abusive, and my needs weren't met. But that didn't stop any labels from being put on me. So for me, I was expected to make straight A's. I was a dancer, so I was always, looked to as defined as the performer, the dancer, the girl, the cheerleader, and things like that. But, inside, I may have felt differently. I may have identified with a different sort of label. So first, I want you to think back to your childhood and growing up about how, first of all, what label was predominantly placed on you, and I want you to write the name of that what that person was, or what you were called, and what that label, how you identify with that label. The second part of the exercise is on a different piece of paper. I want you to identify what is your true label. What speaks to you, and how do you see or define yourself? And then we're going to talk about the differences between this, and maybe how this made you feel growing up, having a label that was different than other than how you felt. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You heard me, right? This time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So everybody first write down the first label, and let me know if you're all ready to when you're ready to show that, and we'll start one by one revealing that label. And I just want you to hold up. Kathy, we'll start with you. So when you're ready, we'll have you start, and we're going to have you show the label that others put on you.
Hold on a second. When I was younger, I was very overweight, so that's the label I chose for myself. You can see it. Fat or overweight.
So did people refer to you as the fat person? I mean, is that what they, did they define you like that? Did they call you that?
I was bullied a lot for it.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I relate my childhood back to, is being overweight. And my dad was especially hard on me for it.
Okay.
He would always push exercising, working out. So that's kind of, when I look back at my childhood, that's what I remember.
Okay, and then I don't want you to share right now, but have you thought of a label of how you identify yourself with and what you would call yourself? Like who your true self is? Don't share it, but I just want to make sure that you understand the exercise, that you are going to define what your label was for yourself. That was a truer identity, unlike being labeled as fat or overweight. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, Christine, can you share a label that others put on you when you were younger?
Yeah,
or it could even still be happening now.
It could still be happening. Well, actually, one thing I remember from my childhood was that I don't know if you guys can see it, but you probably can't. It's a loner. I've always been described as loner by my classmates because I always preferred hanging out with very few people, and most of the time I enjoy just sitting in the corner with a book and just read. And I don't know why, but I just felt comfortable that way. I just really liked the peace, and I wasn't into the same things they were. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. I look forward to seeing how you identify yourself. Genesis, how about you? A label that other people put on you.
I wrote student just because that's what was emphasized at home, be a student first.
You said a student?
Yeah.
Being studious? Okay. All right. And Isha?
Well, for me, it was always very average. My friends or whatever people were around me, they were like, "Oh, she's very average, you know, can't hear you properly." No.
Repeat your label.
Oh, yeah. So people used to actually label me with, she's very average.
Average.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
okay.
yeah.
And how did that make you feel?
growing back when I was in high school, I never used to understand a lot of things because you're just growing and you're in your own zone, very happy. But later on, when I came to know that people used to think this about me, that I'm very average, because you used to get surprised. If I
Okay.
used to tell them that, I'm working here, and they were like, oh, really? So that made me feel like, okay, you know, not
Right.
that good, not that good, I would
Right.
say.
Of course not. Carly, how about you?
Um, when I thought about it, I was kind of like, there's 4 kids in my family, and I'm the second oldest. So I was always kind of like the mom of everyone, like the babysitter, like the one who
The
was
responsible
responsible.
one.
Yeah, my mom died when I was 6, so it was my sister was just a baby, just like a few months old. So it was
Wow.
kind of like my role that I stood up to that from my childhood till now even.
Right. Thanks for sharing that, Valerie.
Well, I have many labels as I evolved as a person, but I'm going to give you
Sure.
the first label that I'm going to hark back to like elementary school when I was at that age range. I would say that my label would be strong or tough.
Okay. And how about now? What is your label now that other people put on you? Do you recognize that that still happens?
Oh, yes, I think that I give a certain impression. I give an impression of utter self-confidence and
Right.
an outgoing nature and very strong and assertive. And I'm actually have a lot of sensitivity and a lot of, I'm going too far.
No,
Anyway,
no, no, that's good. No, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to work our way back, and I want you to share, well, what is a true label for you, and how do you identify with your true
I am
label?
much more sensitive than people give me credit for. I think because of my childhood and growing up, I developed an exterior of toughness and strength.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm not so tough and I'm not strong.
Yeah, I can relate to that, very much so.
Sensitive. Okay, exactly. It sounds like it.
Yep, very sensitive, emotional, and compassionate, but yet the
Very.
exterior is you got it all together. You're a strong woman. You have no problems in your life, right? Everything looks
No.
great. You look good. You must be good. That's very hard for me to grow up that way. I mean, I talk about that in my book about living a facade. Being a dancer. That it was easy for me. I learned how at a very early age to put that face on and pretend. But however, it did serve me well, right? If I needed to protect my feelings, but in the reality, in the end, it doesn't serve me very well. And I found, right before I wrote the program in my journey 2008 to about 2010, that I realized I was tired of putting on the face, tired of appearing okay. And I learned to get more comfortable with being more real with my feelings and saying, yeah, I'm not okay. This is what's going on with me. And sharing more and more and more with people, trusting people. I think a lot of it had to do with me not being able to trust anybody. And I still have some of those root issues because of being let down and whatnot. But that's kind of what we're getting at here, is for you to really recognize that when people do that and produce those labels on you, right? A couple things happen. One, you may not recognize it at first. Two, you may recognize it and feel bad about it. Three, you may not even identify at all with that person. Or four, you may identify a little bit with that person and say, oh, I can see why people are thinking this about me. And then you're going to have a choice in how you respond and react to the outside world, as well as to your own, using your own self-talk and how you're going to manage that experience. And so that's a lot of what Girls in Power program is, and what we'll be working through is managing our thoughts, our words, our self-talk with ourselves, and then what ends up being portrayed, and how we respond and react, right? So Carly, can you tell me about your identity, your true label for yourself?
um, it's not like that different. I'm very still responsible, and I kind of consider myself a strong and positive person
Mm-hmm.
just because I've been through a lot in my childhood and even more than like normal people go through. So it's kind of
Right.
like how I look at every situation is just like in a more positive way than some people can relate to.
That's great, and that has to do with what we're going to end with. Was if you see the worksheet on gratefulness and being grateful. A lot of times when people have gone through have had a horrible traumatic experiences at a very early age. You know, some of us have that background, and that we learn how. I mean, as you guys know, we're designed to fight or fight. We're designed to either survive or to die. And those who do survive, you know, end up usually being more responsible, you know, and caring, and they, you know, they what did you say that you had to go through that, and that's kind of, it's created who you are today. We are made up. We're a product of our environment, and you know, that nature versus nurture, a product of genetics and what we're given, and then also our experience, our life experience. So thank you for sharing, Isha.
Well, I always thought that, you know, I was very, very ambitious. Even though people didn't see that in me.
So you felt, let me just make sure I heard you right. We have a hard time hearing you, I think, sometimes. You felt very ambitious?
Yeah.
But others, you didn't feel others recognized that or saw that?
Yeah, people used to think, oh, you know, she probably would end up doing nothing, or, you know, would sit at home and something like that. But I was always like this dreamer, you know, who would think about certain things, that I want this in my life. And, you know, where I come from India, where usually girls or students, they don't start working very, very early. You know, they have to finish their education first, and then they start, like 25 years after 25, they start working. So we don't have a concept of learn and earn. It's like more of very educational backgrounds. But I started working when I was just 19. So, you know, I was always this kind of person who would dream and have some kind of vision in my mind.
Right. Thank you for sharing. It makes sense. Genesis?
I chose independent. It's just something I've grown to be. Yeah.
Independent. That's who you identify with, that you're very independent now?
Yes.
Great. And what attributes of independence can you share with the group on how you came out of where you were as a child and to where you are now?
I guess, like, it's a lot more do things for yourself. Mom's not home. You gotta do everything yourself, especially in college. And I guess that's what I've grown to be.
Right. Okay. Christine?
I think the label changed gradually as I grew up. So that happened when I was still in elementary. And when I was already in high school, I started joining organizations, and that changed. So I became more engaged in public speaking and joining different competitions outside the school. So I was able to meet different people, and that allowed me to understand that the people that I'm going to encounter in life are not all the same. So there are people who I'm going to be friends with, there are people who are going to know I'm going to dislike, but they will challenge me so that I can become a better person. So I think I'm not loner at all times, but I can adjust easily.
Right. Well, you know, it's funny. I somewhat relate to your label, the earlier label of being loner, and obviously I'm out in the world of this social speaking. And a funny story is that prior to developing Girls in Power, part of my journey was, and I still take the time to be by myself, because I have found that what I need to be me is I need to separate and take time away from people in order to rejuvenate and be able to be then out in the public and speak and share and teach, right? So it's, you know, I look at myself sometimes as a total loner. Used to be completely anxious of social engagements. I did not want to go to parties. I did not want to be on stage per se. Still had anxiety that was, you know, coupled with that. So I just wanted to point out that sometimes, you know, we are a combination of these things. That there's attributes, but it doesn't have to be a negative thing. Right?
Yeah.
As you mature and you grow and you self-love and you self-accept, you can accept that being a loner, being quiet, or being reserved when on your time, when you want to do it, is actually a good thing. It's probably serving you well, right? So there's a difference than how it is when someone called you that and you're more reclusive, right? Make sense?
Yeah.
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 Okay. How about you, Kathy?
Well, I mean, I'm still pretty young and still trying to get to know myself and um, uh, all that stuff. But I think I could truly identify with the label of being strong. Um, like I was telling you all earlier, I had a lot of bullying and weight issues when I was younger, and a lot of people could just easily just give up and just fall into that label people are giving to them, but I chose to, do something about it, to rise above it. I joined a bunch of sports in high school. I lost all the weight. I went to college. I went to college really, really far away, and I dealt with a lot of problems there on my own, and I had no choice but to deal with them by myself and to be strong. So I identify with being strong.
Great. Well, good. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so we're going to move on. We're going to do an exercise, or actually, I'm going to lead you through an exercise. I'm going to lead you through the envisioning questions. And so for this, you can have a pen and paper handy for after the exercise. As soon as I have you open up your eyes, then you're going to start writing your thoughts down, and then we're going to share those thoughts briefly. So what I'd like you all to do is set your things aside for right now. And I know it may feel awkward, but I want you to close your eyes and just listen to my voice. But first, I want to do a sound check. Can you all hear me the way it is right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, good. All right, so close your eyes. Keep them closed. Thank you. All right, so now I want you to imagine a time when money, your experience, your knowledge, time was not considered a constraint, and you had no constraints in the world. Now, I want you to be able to visualize what you want out of life every day of the year. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and remember that there's no constraints, not money, not time, nor your experience. I want you to imagine what do you want to be when you grow up? Doesn't matter how old you are right now, but where do you see yourself in 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years? Now visualize, what does that look like, and what does it feel like? The sky is the limit here. There are no constraints, so anything you want. I want you to imagine that. What does it feel like to love every minute of your life? What might your core values be? In other words, what's most important to you? Might be what you believe in, what you stand for, what you're passionate about, what you live for. Could be a goal, a way that you want to act and be. Now imagine, where do you want to live? Is it a city? Is it a small town? Is it a suburb? Is it in a different country? What type of home will that be? Are you near the beach? Are you in the mountains? Are you in a very busy city? Now imagine what your community feels like, the people around you. What does it feel and look like? What types of things are a part of your life? Now look around you and see which people are there. Who is there with you? Now the last thing is what fears do you have that make you feel you may not be able to have these things or keep you from doing these things? Think of those fears for just a moment. What do you hear yourself saying negatively that it might impact how you want to achieve those or what you want to achieve? Now open your eyes. I'd like you to first open your eyes, and I'd like you to first write down what fears you have, and then I want you to write down what you saw, what you visualized, and that you want to obtain. We're going to take a few minutes to do this. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Kathy, are you ready to share?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'd first like to, I'd have you, what I want you to first share is what you envisioned your life to be like in the future. And then after that, I want you to tell all of us what fears are keeping you from thinking you can achieve that and obtain it.
Okay, well, I wrote down a little paragraph, trying to remember everything, all the questions that you asked when our eyes were closed. And I said that I hopefully see myself as a pathologist living in Washington, D.C., happily married, surrounded by the great friends I have now, as well as my family, and laughing a lot because I love to laugh a lot, and I hope I never lose that loving to laugh. Enjoying my life and basking in all the rewards of my hard work. And I'm hopefully a more positive person. I know I need to work on that. And my fears are that I'm not smart enough, or just in general, I'm just not good enough. So those are my fears.
Great. Well, I'm glad you shared that, because that's exactly what we're going to be tackling in the next couple of weeks, is how to counter that negative self-talk, which a lot of us have. A lot of people won't even admit they have it. But I'm going to promise you that we can change the tape recorder going on and reprogram your brain. It's a lifelong practice, but it gets easier. How about you, Christine?
Well, I actually see myself doing something for the glory of God, like sharing His message or writing, about the Word of God, because that's something I really feel passionate about. But at the same time, I would also like to work as a writer, get to travel a lot, and experience different things that I'm not able to experience now. So I see myself living with my mom for the next 5 years and working and earning a living for her, because right now that's really my focus, since we don't have the means and we're currently struggling. So my current goal really is to have that peaceful life with her and also be able to provide for her needs. So my fear is that I actually have two fears. So my first fear is that my health condition will get in the way, because as of the moment I have a nodule in my throat.
Oh.
So it affects how I speak. So it started when I began public speaking. So I think it has something to do with too much practice or whatever. So it just happened. And right now I'm getting medical treatment, but I'm afraid that um, our resources are not enough to sustain that. But I think God will compensate for whatever we don't have. So
exactly. I mean, if you're a believer in, if you're a believer in God, I mean, as you know, you can put your trust and faith into Him to provide and give you favor with your health, and so that's an awesome tool to use. Thank you for sharing that, and we'll keep you in our prayers. Genesis, how about you?
I said, well, this is after college. I guess I see myself as a case manager for at-risk youth, either in a nonprofit or with probation or parole. I guess my fear is just not accomplishing that.
Okay, so let's back up for a second. So everybody, I'm going to make sure everybody heard you. A couple of your goals are to either run a foundation, be a parole officer. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, and then there was another one. What was it?
A case manager for at-risk youth.
For at-risk youth, exactly. Great. So your heart's there, right? You're passionate about helping, and I mean, I know a little bit about your past and why that's there. Remember, that's important to keep that front and center about why you're passionate and why you want to be dedicated to that. And then the fears, if I heard you correctly, is that you're just afraid you're not going to really accomplish that.
Yeah.
Right. Can you be more specific about, well, what would get in the way of you not accomplishing? Why do you doubt that you may not do one of those things?
Not graduating in time, not passing the physical test, psychological test.
Do you really think that if you don't graduate in time that you may not be able to achieve one of those?
Maybe not in time, but not graduating at all would be the issue.
Are you having a hard time in school contributing to the challenges with graduation?
A little bit, yeah.
You are. Are you seeking help and finding resources?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so you're being proactive. Yeah?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and you probably know you're going to have to continue to be proactive to get the help that you need, because those people are there. And that's another reason why I had you identify your circle of support, right? So that when we identify a challenge or a problem or something we're sad about or we're worried or we're fearful about, we can go to those people and reveal that and seek someone's help. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that actually is vital to your success. In other words, you learning to advocate for yourself in a time of need is what's going to make you successful.
Okay.
Make sense? We'll talk more
Yeah.
about that later. Isha?
Well, I see myself doing something which makes me happy.
That's awesome. That's a great place to start.
Yeah,
That should be on everybody's list, just to be happy and doing what you do.
all about going ups and downs, but I just want to see myself doing, whether it's personally, professionally, I want to do something which makes me happy. I don't want to come home and, sob on it that, oh, my boss said this and, I'm not happy. I don't want to do that. So I hope in coming 5 to 10 years, I'm happy. Whatever I do, may it be like a very small job or may it be something which I've always dreamed about. My fears is like, I don't want to waste my life. I want to do something. I just don't want to get stuck on like, okay, I'm just sitting home doing nothing and just wondering and watching walls. I don't want to do that. That's my main fear, that I just don't want to waste my life. I want to do something which is very important for me, and, for, like, my parents should be happy and they'll be like, okay, she's doing something and she's happy. So,
Right.
this is what
So let me ask you, because, excuse me, I stay very busy and I'm always working on projects, but I also take a lot of time off, whether it's health problems or trauma in my life that just, is trying to knock me down. But I find that my negative self-talk sometimes says you're not doing enough or you're being too lazy. Like, if I take that time, so, I want you, it's crazy that we have those thoughts, and they've been ingrained in us from society, from either it's our family, the people around us, our role models, and unfortunately, but fortunately, we have to take charge and control of that and not let those negative things, negative ideas that society has placed on us, or parents or family, because that can be the detriment of our happiness and our peace, right? So I want you all to start becoming aware, because I think next week or the week after, we're definitely going to be getting into limiting beliefs versus empowering beliefs, that negative self-talk, and then I'm going to give you some of the skills that I've used to counter those thoughts. But I have also found that that being ingrained in me about not wanting to be lazy, or in other words, wanting to be productive, and being aware of that, it's always a balance of rest that's not laziness, right, and productivity that's actually efficient, because we can be busy and doing a lot of stuff, but we're not really acquiring or accumulating, wealth or doing anything, right? So it's great that you brought that up, because it is a very delicate balance to be aware of.
I mean, I don't want to feel guilty if I'm not doing anything. I should be happy, like, oh, okay, I got a time off. I'm going to enjoy this time. Not thinking, oh, this work is pending. Now I have to go back and do that. So that's my main aim.
Right, exactly. All right, Carly.
So my goals for professional would be for to become a human resource manager one day, like work my way up in a company. And also another really big goal I have is to be married and have a family and have my own kids and kind of start my life like that. And some of my fears I have are being able to have a successful career and a good family life, and be able to take the time off to travel, enjoy my life, and own a home, and everything that is what my goals are, to be able to do that and be happy at the same time.
Right. Good. Okay, well, thank you for sharing. Valerie?
Okay, well, I have a different set of goals because I've lived my life. I've had a career, and actually very deep career, deep in different experiences. But one of my biggest goals would be to complete. I have about 5 independent projects I'd like to have done. What my goal would be is to have a career, because I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But I would like to have a career that is completely independent, that I don't have to go to a job. I would like to be very independent. I've done that, and I have put in many years doing so. But I would like to be independent. I would like to be able to work alone. I am the product of a divorce that broke my heart, and I would like to. One of my goals is to have a healthy relationship, a marriage, no kids, yeah, obviously, and I have one beautiful child, so that is a goal. I also would like to travel more, but I definitely want to feel fulfilled in my career, because I've always been a career kind of woman and a balanced career and raising a child. But so I would like to have a revenue stream that I can fulfill in wherever I am. I would love to have a home near the water. I don't care about staying here, and I'm not sure. I've been thinking for the past few years, where do I really want to be? Because I want to be able to do what I do from wherever I am. And I want to live near water, and I want a wonderful, healthy relationship, and I don't want a man that I have to support, because I've always done that all my life. And so I have a lot of goals, career and personal life. I want to find I am a Christian, and I would like to find a church that I have to hook into, but I would like to do that with a partner. So I would love to have a relationship. So that all said, there's a lot to be said on that. But that all said, it's funny because the first fear that I wrote down is broad in scope, and it is the fear of failure. That can be applied to so many things. It can be applied, and in fact, that is what has forestalled my work on the projects that I have, actually, that I feel are inspired projects, and I think at least 2 of them could actually generate an income for me, so that I don't have to worry about keeping a roof over the head. But if money was not an object, like Melinda said, then my fear is not being good enough, smart enough. I feel like I'm too old to do something meaningful. As far as relationships go, my fear would be, am I not evolved enough? Have I not reached a place where I'm worthy of a really, really healthy marriage and relationship? Because mine was not. It was unhealthy, the marriage that I had. Anyway, so those are, I think it's funny, because when Kathy said, I'm afraid of not being good enough or smart enough, those are the first 2 things I wrote down. I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough. So anyway, those are my fears, those are my desires and goals in a nutshell. So there you go. Did everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Nope.
I think, Melinda,
How about
we
now?
can't hear you if you're saying. Okay, yeah.
No, nothing.
Do you have a loose connector, maybe? It sounds like you're going in and out.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I do. I think my little connector for my headset, the headset part is not good anymore. So hopefully I get a new computer, maybe that'll change. I'm not sure if it's the headset or the computer. All right, sorry about that. Okay, well, that's all really great shares, and I think by listening to everybody, you get to see that, there's lots of thoughts that are produced and anxiety produced around, what we really want to be doing, but what's holding us back from doing those things, right? So a lot of what the program that I've developed helps with is actually working through that stuff and becoming more successful and efficient and productive every day. so that you can achieve those things, and being happy while you're doing it. So before we end, there's two things. One, I want to talk to you about being grateful, and I'm hoping you all have a journal that you can start using, or you can go grab a journal. And I want you just to identify, some of you may already be doing this, you know, it may be already be a part of your life. I mean, for me, waking up in the morning and identifying those things that I'm grateful for and thanking, you know, the Lord is how I start my day, because, you know, it gets me going on the right track. I'm not thinking about the negative things. Sometimes I wake up and I have horrible thoughts in my head, but I have to work at counseling out those negative thoughts and finding what I'm grateful for. So if you get in the habit, this becomes second nature over time. So in your journal, you can do it either in the morning or in the afternoon or whenever you feel like it. And if it's hard for you to first identify with what you're grateful for, thankful for, then just look for 3 things and really be open to recognizing those things. I mean, they could even be being able to hear the birds sing and it being beautiful noise to you. It could be, you know, the sun is shining. Or it could be about people, loved ones in your family that are doing something for you or gone out of their way, and you recognize their kindness. But I want you to dedicate every day of this week to be finding at least 3 things that you're grateful for. Over time, this really helps with changing our perspective on life and being able to handle it when things really do get bad, or putting the perspective on of identifying that my life isn't so bad. Other people have it worse than I do. You know, even in listening to each other, you probably can relate or say to yourself, well, I'm grateful I didn't have to go through that. Or, you know, I'm grateful I have this in my life right now. I'm grateful I've overcome these certain things and these challenges that I've already had. It helps by us being in a group, and I'm so glad that you all have dedicated yourself to participating here, that you know, you are going to be able to gain some perspective and become efficient and effective in your life by sharing with the group and listening to everybody else. So you're all contributing to helping each other have a better life. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, great.
In fact,
So,
have you seen that there's a thing going around on Facebook? It's called the Positivity Challenge, which is very much like that, although it's only for 7 days. But it was a great practice.
It is. And so this is something I want you to do. This is something you're going to be, everything I teach, by the way, is what you do for the rest of your life. It becomes much easier. It becomes second nature. It becomes just a daily habit. And we'll get to our daily habits list where you can start checking those things off, because some people need that checklist to give them motivation and feeling accomplishment. So the next thing we're going to look at is, and I'm going to let you, is the Wheel of Life. So if you want to just bring up your instructions, first of all, I'm going to give you an overview of what the Wheel of Life is, and then I'm going to have you do this, you know, over the next couple of days. I want you then to upload it and send it to me. We may have time next week to talk about it. I also send you out a new workbook for next week. The Wheel of Life is life priorities. In other words, I'll try to share with you what mine looks like when I did this a while back. These are your priorities, and so I think there's 8 pies that you're going to identify what those pies are, okay? And you're going to write them out on the grid lines to the side. I'm going to share with you what a finished one looks like. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, these were you can. Okay, great. So these were the eight priorities in my life: faith, family, hobbies, physical, which for me meant exercise. You know, how I was taking care of my body, my health. Fun, meaning was I having fun in my day? Personal growth. You know, was I having introspective and self-review and self-reflect? Community. You know, how was I spending time with other people? And then overall health. So let me, the reason we do this is because a lot of times, hold on, I'm trying to get my face back up on the screen. A lot of times there we go. Our road gets bumpy and we get thrown curveballs, or we feel out of sorts, or we feel disconnected from community and groups, or maybe we're more anxious than other times. And putting things back in balance is achieved by first looking at how you're spending your time and where you're putting your energy in these 8 individual slices of life, right? A lot of times you'll be able to see, once you connect the dots, there's a dip. I mean, you may have a 2, and then you have a lot of 4s or 5s, higher numbers, and you immediately know, oh yeah, well, I've been feeling like I haven't been exercising enough. You know, I'm not really taking care of my body. Or you'll see a 2 in community. Oh, I'm not being aggressive with reaching out to friends and hanging out. I'm hunkering down and staying home. But you know that part of keeping balance in your life is we do need to have connection and community with other human beings. So I want you to each do that so we don't go over too much time, all right? And then I want you to upload that. The last page, every week, you're going to have what's called a weekly reflection. And this is what you initially do first before we get on the Hangout. So today, you can do it for me and send it back. Next week, you're going to do it in advance and send it to me before the workshop, the time that we're meeting and hang out, preferably if you can. And that is identify how you're feeling. When it refers to workshop, that may mean what we're doing in our workbook each week and what we're talking about and discussing in the hangout. So it may say things like, what are your goals for the next workshop or program? What do you want to get out of it? Or it may say, how are you doing from the last program, workshop that we did? And so it's referring to our time in our workbook. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Okay.
but I have to ask you a question. Does this,
Sure.
Yes.
the weekly reflection, we are going to fill that out,
And send it to me.
well, before our next meeting?
Okay, so
We
yeah.
we work whatever, answering these questions, and then before we meet, we'll send this to you.
Yes, preferably. So like Sunday night.
Yeah.
Sunday night, you can start sending it to me Sunday night.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I have a question. My oldest daughter, she's special needs and she has an IEP meeting. They just sent me an email while we were talking, and they scheduled it. They're trying to schedule it. I could tell them no for 11 o'clock next Monday, but I don't want to miss our meeting. So first question I have for you is, can we meet earlier, like 9:30 to 10:30, or is that too much of a conflict for anybody?
I have class.
You have class. So what time are you out of class?
10:45.
Ah, okay. Could we do this later, or is that a conflict for anyone?
Later's better, fine with me.
There's
Later?
fine too.
Genesis, how about you?
Yeah, as long as we're done by 5:45. I have class
By what time?
5:45.
5:45. Okay, how about Christine? How about you?
What time will be the later?
Well, what we're doing is we're discussing moving it later, if possible.
Mm-hmm. At what time?
I'm looking at my calendar to see what would work. I could do 3 to 4, 3:15 to 4:15.
That's fine.
Does that work for everybody? Because I don't want to do this if it's not going to work for everyone, because I can just tell them no, make it a different day.
For me, it's fine.
For me,
Fine.
it's fine too. Yeah.
Valerie, 3 o'clock?
Fine. I'm waiting for my calendar to load, but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that is fine. That would be next Monday, the 15th.
Yeah, and then we want to plan on the morning time all the other Mondays.
Awesome. You said 3:15 to 4:15. Is that it?
Yeah, that would work good for me.
Okay. Works for me.
All right, so I'm moving next week. Christine, did you hear that? Is that okay for you?
Yeah, okay.
It's okay for you. And Kathy, is it okay for you? Kathy?
I don't know if she's there.
All right.
I'll try to send her a message.
She's not live. She's not on.
She's no longer with us. Did she leave the group? I don't see that she
No,
left
her
the group.
face. Her face. I think she just.
Yeah, just
All right, Carly, will you get in touch with her for me, please?
Yeah.
And let me know. Okay, great. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week. So let's review really quick. start listening to that negative self-talk so that we can apply the counter thoughts when I teach you those in the next couple weeks. Do your weekly reflection report. Identify your wheel of life. Send that to me and send your weekly reflection report. And be sure that you're journaling what you're thankful or grateful for.
Okay.
Okay? All right, and then we're going to set up a hangout, Valerie and Isha, together, the three of us. So we're going to do that this week. I'm going to shoot you guys over a couple of times that work.
I have a question about the Surefire.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want me to be there? Because I need to request it off work now.
Okay, so you're talking about next Monday?
No. The Surefire on October 11th.
Yes. Anybody that is able to do the Surefire event, I need you guys to mark your calendars and be there for us. And part of what we're learning in this is going to help you, give you the backbone of the foundational work. I will be sending out emails to everybody in our staffing to see who can make it and who cannot. I mean, even if you come from part of the day, it's an amazing event. Hundreds of girls and parents. This year we're teaching 2 workshops of the Friends in Front of Me. We do breakout groups within that in classroom with about 25 girls each, and then I will be speaking on stage in the main tent for the parents for one of the sessions. And we're also, that day we are going to launch the Girls Empower Mom and Daughter program for the first time to the public, which means we'll give away a couple of those programs, and then we're going to sell that program to help generate funds for the GIP Foundation. So I'm in the middle of, I already taped some of it, and now we're doing, I'm creating the final packaging of all that. So it's a pretty big deal that day for us. So if you're able to attend, just respond to my email. Some of us can carpool and things like that. It's down in the Art Institute in Santa Monica.
Okay.
It's basically from like 10:30 to 4:30 kind of thing.
Who's the host? Who's the organizer for the Surefire event?
Michelle Ellison.
Okay, it's an individual.
It's a company. Well, she has a couple companies, Caspian Productions. So she's the one that produces the event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there other nonprofits involved like yours?
Yeah, a lot of for-profit, and then maybe one other nonprofit.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies. When I send you the flyer, you go to their website, surefiregirls.com. You'll see everybody, all the partners, all the speakers, all the teachers, all the marketers who contribute. So it's just it's one thing that I agree to do each year is teach it for free.
Great.
All right, and then we look to our board of directors. We've got 2 board of directors who will be attending and helping me in the breakouts, and then we look to our interns and our staff to help us with volunteer positions there, if possible. Okay. All right, so thanks to you all, and have a great week, and keep it up, and I can't wait to meet next week and hear all about it.
Yeah.
So I'll send the workbook by Sunday. All right?
You all, by the way, you're all lovely girls.
Oh, thank you.
More lovely than us.
All right, everybody, take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.